Good morning. Heck yeah. Top of the morning. Yo, good morning, brother. Name's given, no real entries, man. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, state of focus. You're just gonna have to size down, man. I know that sounds really stupid to say, but if you're really understanding the setup, then you just need to size down, right? Um, you're trying to like make money. If you come from day trading world, you know as well as I do. You size up just so you can make money on a smaller move or an intraday move. Yeah, or I recommend 10% portfolio. I would even start 5%. So if you're trading with like 100 grand, let's say, well, then you're not putting more than 5,000 to work on a breakout. And then you can add to that position, um, but you wouldn't add until it sets up again properly. So that's how I would play it if I were you. And understand you're gonna take super tiny losses all the time. 70% of the time, but then you'll have like meaningless size when something's working for you, and that meaningless size, once it begins to work, it'll end up paying you great. And that's how you get the, you know, how do I say it? Like the cold feet, of trading out of the way, because you're gonna lose a lot. So it's just good to get comfortable with that. Know how much you're gonna lose before you get in. That's what makes me comfortable. Trash. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you have to know what it's like to just sit patiently in a trade, that you bought properly. Figuring out where to buy something, that's not the hard part. It's figuring out where to sell it, right? I mean, that's the hard part, but usually for me, I just use moving averages, right? Like once I sell some of my position, then it's just I leave it up to the moving averages. Unless, the sector starts to fail, the market starts to roll over and we've been in a shitty market, then maybe I'm quick to peel more, but yeah, I just want moving averages to work for me. I don't want to have to overthink shit. You did your job. You found a tight, low risk entry. In the right sector. Denberry. Yeah, I use Thinkorswim just for charting, but my execution's on either E Trade or Trade Zero, or my. I mean, I've got a couple of accounts, but Mainly those two. Yeah, I'm recording this, and then hopefully, I got a YouTube page, and hopefully I can get it like all these videos uploaded to YouTube for anybody who misses it. These energy names still look pretty decent, but this shit's choppy. Oh my god. Good morning. Really, it looks like Solar still wants to make a fucking move. We'll see what Solar ends up doing. Yeah, I don't see tons to get excited about this morning. We'll see. Solar. Not gonna lie. Solar still looks the best. FSLR's been so strong, hasn't even touched the 20. Unbelievable. And your breakout was right over on this day right there. Right over the previous day's high when it posted revenues, earnings report. Right there. Had this nice gap up, and this happened when EMPH went. And then had this even bigger day the following day. Unbelievable. And then posted earnings that following night. You know, as soon as it took out that first hourly candlestick to make a high, or the previous day's high, you know, there was your entry. $3-4 risk. A bit much, but if you sized in properly, this powerful name never even sniffed close to red. Unbelievable. Seriously. Only other entry I saw was right here. And just, you know, got nice and tight, consolidated for 5 days in a row, broke back over that range, 130s, 131. Again, $4 or $5 risk, but if you size properly, you know, you caught a $10 move overnight. Nothing crazy, but would have been tough to buy this thing up here. But, no, mini high type flag. Man, this thing is ridiculous. What a turd. Yeah, FSLR on the hourly. Yeah, on the daily, you know, it still feels extended, right? But it did pause for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. You know, remember, leaders don't die; they consolidate. It's always important to remember. If you're in a leader, he shouldn't just be rolling over. for death. You know, it should be hanging out. That's exactly what this name did. I mean, it would have been nice to see it break down a little bit more, you know, and build some higher lows on the daily. Just so damn strong. Yeah, that's because I'm working on a um, widescreen monitor. I can see if I can try to adjust that actually. But my screens may be smaller if I do. Yeah, then you guys won't see my full right chart. Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, that's kind of messing with my. It's not terrible for me. How's that? Is that better for you guys? Let me see. I just played with it a little. Let's see. Adjusted the screens. Okay, cool. I can leave it there. Might actually work a little bit better for me. Okay, cool. If I am guilty, I will pay. I shot the sheriff. Nothing like some records in the morning. You know, DVN looks even better. DVN looks even better than Oxy. How's crude looking this morning? Yeah, I use TOS for charting, like I said, and I use a couple other platforms for execution. Um, but honestly, I just like their charting software. TC2000 is nice too, but I've just never taken the time to learn it. That's all. Yeah, NRG used a triple leveraged. That one just moves a little crazy for me. Plus, personally, it needs to build out the right hand side of this base a little bit more. I mean, I would personally play ERX. It's somewhere in the middle, you know, in terms of ADR and in terms of price. You know, XLE is a little slow. It's not that it's even slow, but you know, we'll see how they look by Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm in no rush to get back into these. In particular, Oxy. Oxy needs a little more time. DVN looks better, but DVN was, you know, pretty much leading Oxy here out of this gap up and move. So yeah, DVN led the way. A little bit better. Yeah, breakout trading's mostly my bread and butter. Every now and again, I'll trade an undercut rally on something that I think should be breaking out. Um, but I try to not buy the weakness. Do like pullback buys too, you know, but I'm not buying like it as it's actually pulling back. I'm buying it as it's turning back up. So after it's found support on the rising 20 or 50. Sometimes I'll buy, that previous, over the previous day's high. Just depends how I feel about the sector. Um, that's probably the most important thing I care about, honestly. Sectors, like my main focus almost all every time. Like this could consider like possibly be a pullback buy for DVN, right? It made this move up, right? Makes this 30%, 40% move up off the 200. Pulls back, it's finding support on the rising 20, and instead of waiting it for it to, break out over 75, um, if you're buying it essentially, through 69 and a half, some guys would consider that a pullback buy. Yeah, steel looks good. STLD just needs a little time. Something like STLD just needs time. X needs time. SLV, there's nothing to do here. Nice bounce from the lows, but there's nothing to do. I mean, I don't see a setup. But it's good. It's nice to see silver holding up. It's probably being manipulated. Yeah, it's not a lot to do. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it looks a little rainy out there, huh? Dude, the streets are flooded literally by me. I'm not even kidding about that. They're flooded. That's surprising, man. Mara. These Bitcoin names are bouncing too. I won't touch them, but it's nice to see. I like seeing the Bitcoin market bounce because I know that's where excess liquidity in the market goes. Whenever there's too much money floating around, it goes to that shitty space. Yeah, rig I brought up last week. It's made this nice move up, 50%, and then it's just gone sideways here. It seems to maybe be finding support on the rising 20. It's a cheaper name. It's nothing to get excited about, guys. It's a laggard, for sure. I'd rather play DVN, Oxy, PXD. I mean, any of these names, much better setup down here. Wowzers. And boom. Yeah, TTD. Yeah, TTD seems to be digesting the move up, that big gap up on earnings up just fine. Who knows? This thing might have a really nice setup prior to its next earnings. So just be patient with it, I would say. Maybe it'll get really tight up under 75 right for its next earnings, and it'll be right up above its moving averages. And if we're in a healthier market at that point, because this did this in you know, a so-so market, kind of shitty market, right? So if you're patient and let it set up and find a tight little entry on the 60-minute, I mean, you could have maybe played a downtrend break on this thing, but gotten in long right there. 62, 62 and a half over the previous day's high. But it's not really a setup. Which one? REGN. Oh, VRDN. Yeah. Well, it found support on the rising 20. Looks like DVN just hit my alert. Reset the thing. Yeah. Let me know when that's better. Yeah, if that's better, let me know. Lithium name, man. It's given a couple opportunities to get in, most notably 3150. It's too bad. Oh man, PRVA, this thing. Given a couple entries, but 30 down here was the one. There you go. 30 bucks. She's gone. Jesus, DVN, what's going on here? I see ya. Oh boy. Uranium looks good this morning too. Ura. I don't know. We'll see what uranium really wants to do. I got a thesis about uranium names, but yeah. STLD X. I don't know if CLFD steel. No, who's the other steel name? NUE, I think. There's another one too. Yeah, these all look the fucking same. No surprise. What do we got? NUE. What else do we got? Let's see. NUMT, MT, STLD. Oh, that looks like shit. CLF. That's the one. Yeah, laggard to sector as well. X, NUE, STLD would be the only ones you'd want to play. What is STLD? Everything else is lagging the sector. Pretty irrelevant right now too. I don't see a perfect setup. I'm out the way until it gets better. But still. Yeah, dude, you know, this one here, it's like once it gets moving. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, once Sava's done setting up, who knows? I mean, the volume that's been coming in lately has been better than normal. It's getting back up above moving averages. Who knows? Someone knows something. Someone wants in this name. Yeah, RYTM. Um, I owned RYTM down here. I recently got taken out of the trade. I owned it right. I day traded it and I swung it. So I day traded here on the second day, 713 up to the 200 day, and then I relonged it at 1209. It got really tight right on the ascending 10 day, and I had an alert set as soon as it took out this previous day's high. Um, but of course, I didn't get long fast enough. I owned it 1209 right in this wick. Sold a little piece at 16, and then I got the rest out. I got a little piece off at 25, and then the rest out down in this wash shop here. And it got me out on the rest, but yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Something goes up 500%. Someone with real money's been holding this up. But I don't know. Can't say I love it too much. But they are holding up. TH holding the 50 again. Yeah, TH just maybe next week or something. Set an alert. Yeah, RYTM, Goss, TH, Dawn. You know, all these names mid big moves. AXSM. They all made, yeah, they all made pretty big moves. What's up, birdies? How are you, brother? Nice to have you in here. I know you're a master charter, dude. This is we're right in your world, swinging. Yeah, this AXSM does not look bad at all. Big move up, gap up on heavy volume, gap up again on heavy volume, pulled back, found support on the rising 20, tightening up. I mean, it's pretty freaking textbook. So, and again, you know, guys, don't worry about how high you think something may have already gone up. That shit's irrelevant, all right? And I always give people this DAC as an example, okay? You know, this stock was out of favor and did absolutely nothing down here. Nothing, just straight downtrend. And it finally got back up above its 200 at about $6, and ends up going all the way to 107. All right, so you know, don't look at RYTM and say to yourself, "Oh, that's gone up too much," because that's not true. We have no idea how high something can go, right? So when you see RYTM, you know, and you start to see somewhat of a constructive setup, you know, don't just assume it can't go higher. You know, don't think, oh, huh? Yeah, AXSM, you know, it's starting to look not bad. You know, RYTM possibly starting to set up again, right? Um, yeah, well, it's not really an indicator, right? It's not indicating anything for me other than the stock's in an uptrend or a downtrend. What's appealing of moving averages, it takes the guesswork out of selling, right? Um, because good luck, everyone. Market open. I'll explain that in a bit.
TMDI, TMDI, FFIE, TMDI, TMDI, NRBO, Kava, NRBO,
Oh, just too thin.
DICE, Amber,
GPK's got. I would let this thing go sideways longer. I hate this ascending wedge right up to supply. It would need some sideways for sure.
LGIQ,
Nova,
NRBO, NRBO,
Sunova Energy.
NRBO, NRBO, DICE, DICE,
Hmm, I don't know. A lot of these names just need more time.
LGIQ,
Pretty much the state of the market right now. Everything just needs more time.
NRBO, GLDRF, LGIQ,
Do do
Almec,
do.
Almec,
Toast. This thing's been great for me. I bought Toast down here as soon as it broke out over this little day's high. Towards the end of day two, not something I normally love doing, but every restaurant I go out to uses this damn thing. And it gave a nice setup. That's all I needed to see. Frey? Yeah, it just needs a little more time. Just needs a little more time. God, that's choppy. Holy shit. My goodness. Up 6 weeks in a row, though. Jesse Livermore would tell you to put your eyes on that, but God almighty. Stevie N here, though. Stevie N's got my fucking interest. MNTK. Futu, China names, huh? Futu. Means PDD's probably got its shit together today as well. CELH. Speaking of, I might have to go grab a Celsius out the refrigerator myself. PDD. GFS, this is my favorite semiconductor name. This thing's a beauty. Absolute beauty. We'll see what happens when this thing actually gets to that breakout level. But Sedge Solar. Put this on watch as well. How's Tesla looking? Yeah, Tesla's starting to get its shit together as well. Nice to see. Nice to see. One of the most liquid leaders in the market setting up. I mean, that's exactly what you'd love to see. Definitely a good sign for the market if Tesla gets its shit together. How are these looking? Nvidia still getting crushed. Apple looking better. AMD needs some time. But these semiconductors like ON, GFS, SMCI, the new leaders, the new breeds, they are the ones, but not yet. Doesn't look like they're ready just yet. Sedge. Not looking bad. I don't really see a ton here. Things need some time. I mean, DVN maybe. DVN looks pretty damn good, personally. Yeah, Wolf was nice on EP Day. Right? Wolf was nice. You should have bought the gap up. Yeah, Wolf was really nice. Same with Suave. That was nice on gap up day too. Should have bought the EP. Right there, first hour to make a first candle to make a high, 242, 243 basically should have been your entry. No, and I usually just take my full position. I look for tight, and I take my
Yeah.
10%, 10% portfolio position. I usually wait for nice fat pitches. I don't overtrade. That's one of the things that I've gotten much better at recently is I keep my frequency down. When you're a swing trader, that's going to be such a killer to your bottom line. When you just take a paper cut after paper cut after paper cut after paper cut. I mean, if you're already a good swing trader, you're going to be wrong, 70% of the time. So, you know, yeah, if you're a good swing trader, you're going to be wrong 60, 70% of the time. Now, if you're a shitty swing trader, I can't even imagine how painful that could be. Because you're doing things kind of randomly. So, being sure to buy something that's coming out of a nice tight base is super important. And limiting your frequency, you don't want to be just taking trades just because you think something looks good. The question is it in the right sector? Is the market healthy? If those things aren't true, and then, hey, is this actually a tight setup? Is this like coming out of the base? Is this coming out of a proper consolidation, daily flag, something, to limit that risk? And then if the answer is yes, well, then you buy it. If it's just another random setup, you're going likelihood of being wrong um, is higher. Like buying things using progressive exposure. Not buying more things until you've already seen some headway in the things that you have bought. Yeah, CRK looks good. CRK kind of looks like this DVN in an odd way. Just CRK looks even better. Yeah, bit of a deeper base when it found support and then took off, but yeah, fuck, almost 100% move. Unbelievable. A little bit thinner as well. Bit of a faster mover. DVN definitely thicker. Yeah, CRK is cool as long as you cut yourself a good average. Oftentimes I don't like buying that gap up on no news. I would have rather have bought it myself through, the highs, 1904. Like buy it as it's getting through the pivot. But yeah, if you got it right, basically at open, you're looking good. Yeah, Sedge looks like it might be setting up well too. It's a laggard in the solar space, but Array. Well, Array's got a mission to take everybody's money before it ever really goes. Oh, people wish. My family just joined the room. Array, SPWR. Yeah, these solar names are acting right. They could use some time, but Sedge basically failed, and it's setting right back up. I mean, that's yeah, nothing. Everything needs time. We're just floating in the sea of nothing right now. DVN starting to shape up. I mean, that's one of my probably top watches here, but I'm not seeing a ton to get excited about.
GPLD button.
Oh yeah? Okay. Yeah, and then again, these turdy ass Bitcoin names are going up. Fucking, can't these just die already? I don't even understand how money keeps going to those names, but it must be the future. Must be. Yeah, BPT. Yeah. Yep. It's another one. It's a little bit laggy, right? Compare that to the one we were just looking at. What was it? CPK or something? What the fuck was it? CRK? Yeah, CRK much stronger. Yeah, BPT just needs a little more help here. Kind of thin. Super thin. God, where's the people at? Look at the volume on this thing. 18,000 shares traded today. If you are even looking at BPT, you might as well stop. I mean, there's nobody even trading the thing. Yeah, my daily routine. I wake up, I walk the dogs, I eat breakfast, I shower. Sometimes I do a little workout in the morning, and then I shower, and then I sit down for 8 a.m. and I do 30 minutes of scanning the market, and getting ready for my morning, and making sure I'm watching my names and names that I think are even in buyable positions. And I try to look at what's gapped up, what hasn't.
RTG.
Beam. You just need a little time, Beam. Beam's not looking too bad. And then at night I do the exact same thing.
FRTG.
Yeah, yep, 1,000%. Got to get it out the system. The stress. No, but yeah, at night, similar thing. At least 30, 40 minutes of running through my scanners.
FRTG.
I mean, the idea is to be prepared for the next morning, so that you can understand, hey, where did money leave? Where did money go? To help you be better prepared for the next day. You know, you don't want to get to the market, and then start being a bobblehead right at 8:30. Yeah, what determines the stock being strong? How big of a move it's already made. If it's still in a base versus something that's already gone, right? Like, you know, I mean, we can just take, for example, GLNG, right? So if you look at this little time period right here, 8/8 through 8/16, and then compare it to some of its peers in the oil energy sector, they hadn't gone already.
TNX.
You know, I mean, even a name like DVN, through that. Well, I guess DVN's an exception. DVN did go, but you know, CRK, or even what was that, BPT? So like, look at BPT, right, through like from 8/8 through, you know, 8/29. I mean, yeah, it made a move up, but I mean, it looks nothing like the move that GLNG did, right? So one's already moving out of its base and
ACMG.
consolidation, and the other one's still hanging out in it. I mean, that's why I use moving averages. You know, if something's in the exact same space, like solar space or energy space, and one's below its moving averages and one's above, well, your eyeballs could tell you right away that one's lagging the sector versus the other. You know, is so look at it like this. Okay, great example. Whoops. Okay, FSLR. Okay, EMPH broke out on this day down here on 7/27, and then FSLR has essentially been nonstop since. Right? So basically from 7/28 to 8/15, we'll just call it that period alone, FSLR was leading. Okay? What was Sedge doing? Sedge had pulled back and literally went sideways for all those days, and even started to break down. So, which one's leading, which one's lagging? You know, don't overcomplicate it more than that. That's all you need to know. You want your money to be in the leaders, not the laggards. Again, that's not to say that I'll never buy Sedge. You know, if solar sets up and starts to rip and ramp again, and I want more exposure to solar, but I've already owned EMPH and FSLR and ARRY and whatever, you know, I will go to Sedge as like the third or fourth option. I mean, you know, just take what you can get. Sometimes, you know, even a halfway decent setup in a strong sector will give a nice move. I mean, look at this turd. You know, this thing made a bigger move than Sedge during that same time. So, and it's a turd. Toast. My goodness. I'm going out to eat today just to support Toast. How do I prevent overcomplicating it? Take less trades. Focus on one, not one, but focus on you only want your money in 3 names, 4 names. That's it. Focus on that, and look at your capital and say you're not going to put more than 25% or 30% of your money to work in 4 names. So not only is not all your money working, your focus is incredibly narrowed, and focus on what's the leading sector in the market and what are the leading names in that sector. The rest is just nonsense and noise. I only really care about volume as it's pushing through my pivot that I'm buying it through, but sometimes that doesn't even matter. Sometimes a stock like will break through this pivot on somewhat low volume, and then it'll catch volume later on in the day, later on in the week. As long as it breaks through my clear pivot, and usually that's the previous day's high. As long as I can keep my wrist tight on the day I got in, and the stock is liquid enough, it doesn't have to trade some massive abnormal volume, for me to be excited about it. Could trade average daily volume through a key level for me, and I'll buy it. As long as my risk is tight. That's all I really care about. Neo's been acting well. Neo has been acting well. How's PDD starting to look? PDD. How about Lee? Holy shit, Lee. What's going on here? Lee and Neo going in opposite directions. Any news? Not that I care. Huh. Neo. Lee. XPEV. Yeah, that's a good book. I read it. I read it. I want to see volume drying up on pullbacks when I'm swinging, but it's not. Look, I don't look at it at the end of the day and start analyzing the volume and being like, oh, the volume today was just perfect on this pullback. But when I do see decreasing volume on pullbacks, that is definitely something that comes through my mind. Neo acting way better than Lee. Lee is the Neo. It's time to shine. EV Maker still top pick for analyst. Interesting. Irrelevant. VTNR. Talk about a lagging oil name. Made a big move. Plenty. It needs time to set up. Verve W. A lot of these beaten down stocks. Plug's been acting well too. Yeah, trade management. Position sizing's my number one focus. Here goes DVN, baby. Nice. Nice to see it get its shit together. Dun, 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 dun.
GZIC. FRTG.
Okay. Yeah, DVN's not bad. Possible pullback buy. We'll see what it ends up doing, but very nice chart in my opinion. These oil names want more. How's Uncle Warren treating Oxy? Yeah, still a little bit of a laggard, but not quite DVN. Fang looks even better, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Looks like Fang's setting up even tighter. Should have had an alert set there. It's too bad. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so I take what's up, brother? I take trades on the 10 minutes really as far as I like to zoom in. I mean, I will zoom in closer. You know, I'll even look at a 3-minute chart if I need to. But you know, just because I do want the best average, but it's really never my focus. The focus is the 60-minute and the daily. You know, and I'm focused on, you know, like when I was looking at DVN, you know, I was looking at the breakout over the previous day's high, and you know, but basically because that came in pre-market, then I'm looking at another 2 levels, right? First hour candle to make a high, so 69.50 basically, and then even Thursday's high, so 69, you know, 64 basically. And once it starts to break through those levels, I make sure I'm sized in properly. My stop is set at low of day, and I look for 3 to 5 day momentum bursts. That's it. Don't overcomplicate your trading. 3 to 5 day momentum burst. If you don't get it, you take a small loss. Okay? Whatever. You know, I'm sized in properly. I don't give a shit about a small loss. But if it ends up working, you know, in 3 to 5 days, you know, you're gonna be peeling 30 to 60%, and then trailing the rest on the ascending 10 or 20, depending on your patience, depending on how much size you have left. You know, depending on how strong you believe the sector is, depending on if you believe the name you're in is a leader. I mean, there's a lot of things to consider, right? But it gets easier with time. So don't overcomplicate your trading. My best advice. You know, look for a tight entry. Like, guys, think about it. Here's my risk. Entry, your risk. Okay, that's what you're risking. Nothing. I mean, in terms of percent, it's yeah, I'm risking 0.5% on a $65 name or a $70 name. I mean, you know, that's and then now you're already up 1.5%. You're already up, you know, 3 to 1 on your risk reward. I mean, it doesn't, you know, don't overcomplicate your trading. Again, do you believe it's a leader? Do you believe it's in the right sector?
Have you taken a peek at GTLB?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ford just hit my alert too. Can't say I love it just yet, but it's not an ugly looking chart. Ford is not so ugly. You know, with Tesla going too, not bad. Not bad. I'm gonna have to keep this dirty dog on watch. Yeah, of course I know Kulamagi does the same, but he's chilling on a yacht. That's my guy. It's my mentor right there. Learned tons from him. He may not know it, but I know it. Do I follow Kulamagi's strategy? God. Well, I try. I don't just trade ETFs like he does anymore. You know, he trades such big size. He can only really trade ETFs, things that are like insanely liquid. I'm not there. I mean, I could take smaller positions, cheaper names, do all sorts of things. I'm still trading with fairly big account, fairly big size, but nothing to that extent, honestly. That's right. Yeah, when I get overly excited about something, people wish knows to jump up and down. Did you jump up and down on DVN? Sure hope you did. No, but yeah, yeah, cool mug. Yeah, no, he's great. Honestly, he's one of the most talented traders I know, and it's because he's prepared to execute, and he understands the setup and he sizes properly. Nothing that you know none of you guys can do. I mean, he doesn't do anything you guys aren't capable of. Well, I had an alert over the previous day's high, right? I mean, for the most part, I had an alert right at 1568, give or take, right around the previous day's high. And I just want to know um, what it's doing as it approaches that level. I don't personally love the setup just yet. Um, Maybe a few more higher lows, maybe taking out 16 bucks. I don't know exactly where just yet, but I need a cleaner supply line. I need price to flatten out just a little bit more. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. No big deal. Tons of charts, tons of setups. Yeah, correct. Yes. So when a price moves out of a area of interest, a pivot, I expect to see volume ramp up. If not, then your pivot, was it really good? Was it actually a pivot? Because the idea is it's a nice setup, and you're not the only person on planet Earth seeing the setup, right? Your expectation is that more people are seeing this setup.
INLX.
And you expect to see an increase of volume as you approach the level and even as you break through the level. Otherwise, is it really a breakout, right? Or ideally, you buy something and it pushes quickly through that level. Well, EMPH, let's look at what a pivot looks like, right? So this thing had made this very large move up, right, on the daily. It then pulls back, finds support on the rising 20, gets nice and tight, and I mentioned it on Twitter. My pivot was 187.70, so right over these days' highs. There's my pivot level. What do you see on this, on this time frame as volume gets through, that level? Well, you see, look at down here. You see ascending volume. That's what you want to see, right? And then the price pushes quickly away from that area. That's a breakout. Oh, DVN. It's perfect. Gotta love it.
INLX.
Yeah, DVN's great. Exactly. Yeah, what do you see? Right? Look at this hourly candlestick versus every candlestick for the past basically 3 days. Okay? The candlestick on the hourly right now, as it broke through those little tops at 69.60, 69.70, whatever, that increase in volume is exactly what you want to see. And if we go down to a smaller time frame, let me move this up here so some of you guys can see. Right? I mean, look at these volume candlesticks, right? 500,000 shares on the 10-minute versus what all day Friday? You didn't get a candlestick not close to that. Not fucking close to that. So, there it is. Don't overcomplicate your life. I mean, there's your volume, right? But the idea is you have to figure out what sector's holding up best. And oil, energy, gas for me was, DVN was. That's why I had it on watch this morning. And as soon as it starts to break your pivot, get in, size in properly. Don't overcomplicate the situation. If it stops you out, it stops you out. That's why you're sized in properly. Who cares? CCJ is just kind of on like this frozen rope. Would be nice to see this name go sideways for a bit. I did buy CCJ 2561 and then 2730s, but it would be nice to see this thing go sideways for some time for a much bigger move. But who knows? It could just be some frozen chart. How long do I think before I need a FAQ? Yesterday. Compro, how are you? What up, Purple Jesus Juice? Oh, that name always makes me laugh, man. Matador, huh? Yeah, another one of those names. They're all popping back up. All oil, energy, gas. You know, and crude was looking like such shit too. I think I might have even mentioned this on Twitter with another trader. Like, wasn't expecting crude to just completely die with how well some of these names were holding up. I wouldn't be surprised to see crude come right back. No, no. Oxy, no moon. DVN moon. Oxy's finally. Oxy got this insane candlestick. That's my Uncle Warren. That's my Uncle Warren. I like DVN personally, but hey, tomato, tomato. Let's send them both to the moon. If anybody is about the gas. Oh yeah, DVN looks good. Honestly, these names look amazing. You know, okay, look at what DVN ends up giving you. A 40-cent window of risk, and now you're up, $1.50 plus. Cigna. Anybody need health insurance? Just hit my alert. Such a slow turd. You'd play this if you had like a $50 million account. Just take your account, multiply it by, 10, and there's your dollar volume. And you don't want to be in names that are illiquid. You don't want to have any effect on the stock you're trading. Think about it like that. EMPH is a monster. PDD maybe a couple more weeks too, man. If this thing will just build out some sideways above this little previous consolidation here, it would be just that much nicer. If we can build some sideways above this previous consolidation over here, you know, previous resistance possibly turning into support, right? Isn't that what they always say? Not that I really give a shit, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to know market breadth is healthy. It's not necessarily something I think about too much. You know, I can already tell, you know, based on seeing names like OxyDVN, you know, handful of other names that have come across my screen. You know, even like this SWN or, you know, cheaper names like Rig. You know, it's like I know money's going into that oil and gas sector. Beam. Beam could use some time. Beam could use some time. Nice to see it going up though. Seems like the market's just floating higher here today. Correct. Yeah, the stocks that I end up scanning, and then my current open positions, right? Because I believe I'm buying, you know, the right sector to begin with. You know, I'm buying solar names. I'm buying oil and energy. I'm buying biotech and healthcare. And it's like, if those start to roll over on me, right? Then is money really going to that sector? Or are they just consolidating? What's really going on? You know, what's the health of the overall market? Like, if I believe I'm onto the right sectors and the market's pushing higher, you know, so should my positions. Um, and that's definitely a big belief of mine. So yeah, what I'm scanning is already telling me where money's going, where money's leaving. You know, like I'm scanning and I'm seeing Neo right now put in several green days in a row, starting to look much more constructive. You know, coin still kind of looks like shit. Roblox, you know, perking back up from those lows. EMPH looks fine. So it's like you start to look around, you're like, okay, growth's holding up. You know, solar's still looking good. Oil energy names are still looking pretty decent. You know, once I know Bitcoin's going up, I know like there's extra money in the market. You know, that's all that is. Bitcoin is where the extra money in the market ends up going to. Yeah, plug's interesting. Yeah, what sectors are holding up above their moving averages? I mean, do you really want to be in names like you know, growth names like Peloton? Or, you know, like, do you want to be in growth names like Peloton, DraftKings, Zoom, etc.? Or do you want to be in names that look like DVN, FSLR, you know, ENPH, you know, guys? So it's like when you have a bunch of solar names holding up well and then a bunch of oil energy names holding up well, those are much better than a name like Peloton, right? So it's like growth isn't the right sector. The right sector is oil, gas, energy, solar, renewables, etc. So then your job is just to look for something tight um, for an entry to hop aboard this moving train, because it's like things that go can continue to go higher. Again, I brought up the example of DAC earlier. I always bring this up because, you know, when this thing's below its 200, it's a piece of shit. Okay, and then it gets up above, and it did it on healthy volume down here, and then finally got up over the 200 and never looked back. Okay, so don't think to yourself, you know, something's gone up too high just because it's gone from 6 to 50. You know, because it could double again, and it did. So don't think just because something's gone up too much, it can't go higher. The focus is away from shit that's below moving averages, downtrending. You know, your opinion about how cheap something's gotten is irrelevant. Yeah, the stream will be saved, and I will get it uploaded to YouTube at some point. But we are good to go to do that. So. Um, what helped my trading immensely when I did it? To focus on past winners, how they moved, how they set up before they went on their move. Yeah, you have to study the bigger time frame. And then another thing that I did, and I got this advice from Christian. I've studied Minervini, I've studied Pradeep, I've studied, Roy Maddox, I've studied Christian, I've studied, Dan Sanger, and I legitimately went on Dan Sanger's website, paid for his membership, just so I can read all his old newsletters. Right, they're all saved, and you just read through his old newsletters, and then he's like giving out buy recommendations on certain stocks that are set up properly. It's like you want to see the date, and you want to go back and look at the chart on the daily, and what did it look like when he was suggesting this thing, and you start to get a good idea of like, okay, this is what they look like, this is how they set up, this is what our markets look like before they went on this big run. um, our markets were still, downtrending, and these stocks were already holding up well up above their moving averages. That's a stock essentially waving a flag saying that it's going to go higher. Um, just all things you guys will learn with time. Be patient with yourself. But, getting away from a smaller time frame. You have to get away from the smaller time frame. How can you study how the big time frame moves when you're just staring at the 5-minute chart like a lot of day traders do? And that's fine. I'm not hating against it, but that's why most traders tend to sell things early, and micromanage trades, and it's tough. It's tough when you just want to take home a daily profit and you're staring at the 5-minute chart. If you have like this daily quota for what you want to make, yeah, you tend to oversize, and then you tend to sell too early because you're staring at a decent profit because you've oversized, instead of letting time be the thing that pays you and not position sizing. And then if you size in properly, you can hold through those ebbs and flows, while still respecting your stop. Pins for a cheap one actually gave a halfway decent setup down here. Nice little base, found support, clean supply line. That's like one of my favorite things. It has to have a clean supply. But damn. Choppy. 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 EQT looks good as well. EQT, AR is another. Yeah, man. These things look great. SM. Yeah, another one in that space. Yeah, I just keep getting alerts for these oil energy names. I mean, none of them are perfect. I wouldn't buy something that's gone straight up 4 days in a row. Not a chance. Not right into some supply, I wouldn't. But the fact that they are hitting these alerts, I mean, that's really nice to see. Not to mention DVN still flying. Yeah, I just focus on setups now. I don't need any more information. I mean, either a chart is in the right sector and you're buying something with market direction at your back. First thing I ask myself is, how's the market look? Or how's the market that I'm trying to trade look? If I'm trying to trade oil and gas names and crude's getting absolutely destroyed and XLE's getting absolutely destroyed, I'm not going to be opening up oil and energy names. But when XLE's pushing higher like it is today, and you got into DVN earlier, I don't give a shit what the SPY's doing. I found a tight entry, I bought the right amount, I bought it, it's it. I know where I'm going to take my loss at. I only plan on trimming for profits. Now, if I didn't trim today and it pushes to 72, at worst, I'll move my stop to break even, right? So it's like, no matter what, it won't be a red trade. I do that. I tend to do that a lot. But yeah, guys, I mean, you can't just keep focusing on the news, Forget the news and focus on your setups. No, I don't want to buy the pullback. I mean, sure you could, but then you're just buying a weak stock. The strongest names don't pull back like that. They keep going. They go up and they consolidate, right? Leaders lead. They don't die. So I don't want to see a pullback right back to where I bought it. I mean, that would be the opposite of what I would expect for a strong name. So I would expect a push up and then it to consolidate, right? Leaders don't die, they consolidate. Something you'll hear me say multiple times. So I would wait for another tight entry, whether it's on the 60-minute or the daily. Yeah. I'm not trying to buy a dip, because then your assumption is that dip has to hold. Now if you did buy a dip, your stop would still be low a day. Is the way I would treat it, but I want to buy something as it's pushing through a level, and then as I buy it, it pushes far away from my average. Like, had you been on top of DVN and been buying it through 69.5s, basically 69.70s, 69.80s, wherever, even 70s, and then set your stop at low of day, that's how I would have preferred to have played it versus buying the pullback to 70. How do I find these names? I scan for them. That's your only job as a trader, is to scan and figure out where money's going, where money's leaving. It's not to be a professional button clicker. You could have bought DVN at 69.50 or you could have bought it at 70. Both are still good as long as you have proper position sizing and you know where your stop's going to be. Yeah, UEC. I like the uranium sector, and UEC on the daily just seems to be consolidating here. So I think they look fine. I mean, CCJ is definitely the leader in that space without question. Yeah, I said somebody messaged me and said, "Well, what about Rio?" Guys, are you fucking kidding me? What about Rio? It's well below all moving averages. The 50 is trending down. You know, it's below the 200 and the 50 is trending down. Why would I want Rio? I don't give a shit if they mine uranium and they have their own electric vehicle and they pump out their own lithium. It's below moving averages. Yeah, UEC looks just fine. I got a little pivot up here at 4060s. You know, we'll see how it acts when it gets and breaks through that level, if it gets and breaks through that level. Yeah, you can scan using FinViz, Trade Ideas, whatever, or build your own, which is what I did. And basically, you're looking for. Well, I haven't built. I haven't always built my own. I do use one of my friends who's in this room. People wish I use one of his scans as well, but um, really, we're just scanning for things that have made a big move, right? What's your leader over the last 30 days, 90 days, 180 days? And when you scan for things that have made the biggest move over the last, let's say 60 days, you're going to get names like RYTM, things that have made a big move up and are just consolidating. And then you're looking for tight entries on things that have gone up and consolidated. That's it. Literally, that's it. It's like if you scan for it on your 30-day leader list, you'd have caught RYTM on your scan when it went from 5 to 15. Then what does it do? It pulls back, got tight, built higher lows, took off. Absolutely nothing magical about this setup right here, guys. Nothing magical. It's right down here. Nothing magical about it. Move up, pull back, another perk back up, pull back, higher lows. Incredibly fast ADR, moves like 10% plus a day, and sayonara. Interesting. Yeah. Toast. Yeah. DVN was a nice one today. I don't know. Seems to be one of the leaders in that group. PXD as well. XOM, another one. Hmm. Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't trade options. I don't trade options. I don't want to deal with any outside forces in my trading, like time decay or Greek letters I don't understand. Yeah, I wouldn't have entered Gush. If I did, my alert would have been like the 172 range right down here, right over this little 60 minute tops, little resistance, little resistance, little resistance. As it was taking out 172.30 basically, 172.40 would have been where I had interest, but yeah, that would have been the spot. Nice little tight day right up above the moving averages. Nice little flat pivot. You can see it on the hourly, but wouldn't have been one that I was totally interested in. It just moves. It's not that it's illiquid, but because it's pretty pricey, but it's fairly illiquid. It moves a little fast for my liking, and honestly, my focus was on DVN. Otherwise, maybe. But like I said it this morning. Somebody mentioned Gush in here, and I said I would have played ERX. If you're gonna play, you could have played XLE, ERX, or Gush, but ERX a little bit faster than XLE and much cheaper, and a little bit slower than Gush. Somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. And so it's as crazy as it might sound to some people, it's like during the trading day, instead of trading, as a swing trader, you're just letting your positions work. And what are you doing? What should you be doing? You should just be scanning. Spend a little bit of time during your trading day scanning the market. Scan the market again a little bit at night. Be prepared for your trades in the morning so nothing catches you by surprise, and then execute when your alerts hit. The rest is everything else is out of your control. All you can do is figure out where money's going and where money's leaving so you can be prepared. Yeah, Sandy, I will. I plan on streaming daily, at least until you guys piss me off. Until you guys stop following the Twitch rules. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I plan on streaming daily. I mean, it makes no difference to me. I've been asked a bunch to do it, so it's just I'm gonna be focusing on my own trading, and then silver's going higher today, huh? I know HL's a silver company. I think somebody did mention silver today, but nothing to do. Still well below everything. But maybe gold pushing higher? No, silver acting better. Interesting. But yeah, like I said, it's not going to make a difference to me. I'm still going to be trading and focusing on my own trading, and then I'm happy to answer questions, when I get some, or when they're legitimate questions. Hey, you're welcome, North. Happy to do it. CRK having itself a day, huh? CRK, Oxy. Oxy's kind of lagging a little bit. PXD, XOM. Yeah, you see XOM on the daily? well above all moving averages, held, pulled back, found the 50, and then pushed back up. You know, Oxy's still under the 1020. You know, still within this little pre-market highs here. Interesting. Versus, look at DVN versus XOM. Wow. Versus CVX. You know, not that Oxy's not great. Not that Warren Buffett can't take it to the fucking moon, but you'd rather figure out a way to get yourself into the leaders. Nothing to do right now. Only one name for me, but that's okay. It's not that it necessarily lies within them. It just helps you realize, you know, what's stronger and what's not. You know, it's just a very simple method for trend following. You know, think about CELH and, you know, how all of its moving averages are heading up. And think about something like Peloton. You know, one's a piece of shit and one's very good. Um, yeah, after I've sold some into strength, a close below the 10 or 20, depending on where it's at, you know, in, relative to my average, then I'll cut the position below the 20. Unless, of course, that 20 is maybe a higher low, you know, very small nuances as to why I might keep something even if it closes below the 20. But for the most part, um, you know, that's my exit sign. No, all this will be saved, and then I'll be moving it to YouTube. Futu. Got interest in some of these China names when they finally finish getting their shit together. Put in a nice base pretty much the beginning of this year, a little perk up and basing out again. We'll see what these names want to do. PDD's really showing the way. PDD's got some awesome strength to it. Yeah, Verve had actually hit my scan a few days ago. Verve doesn't look too bad. Verve does not look too bad. A little longer. A little longer to consolidate, but not bad.
GPL.
Yeah, Verve is fine. Yeah.
GPL.
Yeah, I didn't see tons of other great entries today on anything, honestly. DVN was it for me. Sedge. Sedge just needs some more time personally, even if this alert triggers, there's nothing here. Yeah, MRTX, not bad move off the lows, more than doubled. 170% from the lows. That's fucking impressive. 180% from the low. I mean, that is just impressive stuff, honestly. But yeah, sideways now. Found support on the rising 50. I mean, not bad if you can find yourself a tight, safe entry. Yeah. I still have a position here. Small position, which I had to chase, unfortunately. But we'll see. All these names could just use a, little bit more consolidation. LAC I like as well. ALB's another. SQM's another. They could just use out. SQM could be a big mover here if it creates this nice little supply up. These all-time highs, 115, get nice and tight right underneath that level. That would be amazing. But not much else to do. Yep, that's exactly right. It just needs to tighten up. Just needs to tighten up. No, I don't track my trades, honestly. I used to when I was day trading more than anything. I probably should with swinging, but here's the thing. I've been swinging now for about a year, and my losses, they're so irrelevant now that I don't even need to know them. Here's the thing. I know if I have a loss now, it's because my timing's either wrong. It's not because the stock's a total piece of shit. My timing's either wrong. The market either sucks, or yeah, I mean, sometimes my stock selection's not so great, but I'm always sized into things properly. So I don't necessarily have to track my trades. I see my equity curve going up. That's what really matters. I know I'm doing something right. But I probably should journal, but guys journal so they could write how they feel. I, there's nothing more to say. I don't need to write down how I feel. I feel great.
Talk that shit. Talk that shit, my boy.
But yeah, we're not journaling. I got no feelings to put down on paper. If I get stopped out, it's irrelevant. Move on. Look for another setup. God, I've been stopped out of CYTK in this chop a handful of times too. Bought it like somewhere in here and got stopped out a couple weeks later. And it's been too choppy. But looks like direction's set on this turd too. PBF, another oil and gas name getting incredibly tight, lagging the space right now. And again, sometimes people will ask, how do you know something's lagging? Again, look at PBF, right? Oil and gas. And then look at DVN. It's one's already going. Versus PBF, it's not going. But what's PBF giving you on the daily? Really nice supply line, right? Over 34.40. You don't know, right? Over that, set an alert. And that's it. Don't anticipate that it's got to break out because it's in the oil and gas sector. Don't do that. Let it break out and then react. Christian said a great metaphor. Christian said the best metaphor I've ever heard. It's like going to the Boston Marathon and blindly picking a winner before the race even starts. and then you end up picking the guy who's got asthma. You know, it's like let your runner show to you that he's a good runner. Let the race start, see who's running well, and then react, and then pick your winner. Bloom Energy's not looking bad either. These alternative names, alternative energy names, you know, like BE, Plug. How's CEG looking? Holy CEG. Oh my goodness. NFE, New Fortress Energy, another one. Like a leader. Talk about a leader. Look at what this was doing in June. You know, it already took off, and then in July took off, you know, while the other ones were still in their base. This is part of the reason why I wanted to get so aggressive on Oxy. You know, when I did. You know, names like this were already showing their hand. That money was still going to that sector. Futu. ENVX. Interesting. Hey, girl. SSW and a little laggy, but not such an ugly chart. Tan lagging QQQ. Really? Tan's lagging, huh? Interesting. Tan, in fact, looks like it's consolidating above its moving averages and building out a really nice flag. And QQQ is still below all of its moving averages. And the 50's just starting to flatten out, and it's still underneath the 200. So interesting that you believe Tan is lagging QQQ because, well, if you've got some moving averages on your chart, you'll see that it's really just the exact opposite of what you just said. No big deal, but it is something that, you know, with time you'll get better at recognizing. You know, Tan's just fine. It's made a big move. It's digesting that big move. It's building out a big daily flag. You know, QQQ has a lot of work left to do. It's not even above the 200. Which is exactly why my focus is still... Yeah, I mean, the past 3 sessions, yeah, QQQs have been going up, right? Yeah, for sure. And Tan's been consolidating for 3 days, you know, done nothing. But you have to remember, leaders don't die, they consolidate. And, you know, laggards play catch up, which is exactly what the Qs are really trying to do. You know, there's much more strength in solar. And again, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It hasn't been going up, right? It's just been within this range consolidating. But in terms of strength, you know, it's you know, just because, okay, here's an example. Just because silver gapped up big today and is green doesn't mean that it's you know, that Tan is lagging silver. Right? Like, let's, you know, don't think like that. Think to yourself, you know, Tan is doing nothing but constructive price action, which is consolidating, and QQQ is still has tons of overhead supply to deal with. That's where your brain should be. Tan's acting well because, by the way, when Tan is done consolidating, if it consolidates properly and then continues higher, your focus should be, you know, EMPH and ARRY and CSIQ and TAN itself and et cetera, et cetera. So, this is healthy price action. Consolidation is some of the healthiest price action you're going to get. It's just digesting its move up before another potential move higher. And most of the sector, when you look at names like, SPWR, or EMPH or any of them, these are all very big moves from this base down here. This thing put in this massive base.
CGSI.
Well, it really depends where you're carrying big size from. I mean, in ENPH, I took really big size at 287.
CGSI.
But again, look at what the move it gave you. Remember, 3 to 5 day momentum bursts. And personally, that's when I oversize, 3 days, I'm looking to start getting aggressive on my trims too.
CGSI.
And I actually sold some day 2 at 309, right in this first hourly push.
CGSI.
Literally right up here. And so, yeah, I get aggressive as well when I oversize on something. If it's if I take big size because I really like the setup, and it is a tight entry and it is in the right space, and I believe it's one of the leaders, I will take bigger size. But I'm also way more aggressive in making sure I get some of those off. Oh, nice, you caught 284. You anticipated the breakout. Great work. Don't anticipate your breakouts. 284 versus 288. If you're sized in properly, it's not that big of a difference. Although look, I remember 284. I saw the perk up myself on the smaller time frame, and I did start to piece myself in too there. But I kept buying. I bring up my average into something that's working, versus like bring down my average into something that's not. So yeah, look, 284, good spot. 287, 288, a touch better. Doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 5-minute chart looked great. I agree with you. I did something very similar, so I don't want to talk too much shit. So yeah, 5-minute chart, 10-minute chart, 3-minute chart, they all looked good. I remember it as well because that's exactly when I started to long it. And this, my friends, is a breakout. That's how they're supposed to look. Nice when they look that strong. Oh, boy. And it's exactly why I swing, I mean, imagine even if you sold your position right here, you're essentially up a 4-to-1 on your risk reward, which I have zero intentions of selling. But, that is, what's up, Garth? That is, how I look at the reasons of why I swing trade. You know, your risk reward, you don't have to be right often to make awesome money in the market. You really don't at all. You just have to be patient, size them properly. If you bought PGEN yesterday, what's wrong with PGEN? I see the little flag. As a matter of fact, for being a cheap piece of shit, it's actually pretty nice flag. I'll give you credit. And you should have been buying it, you know, over 250s, even 254. What would I do? I'd set my stop at the very least break even. I mean, if you're in at 250 and you catch a 15% move and you didn't take off, you know, 10 or 20% of your position, you know, the least you can do to protect yourself is move your stop up to break even. And then after you've trimmed, you know, 253, that's great. Okay, so move your stop up to break even. Let the thing work. I mean, there's no reason for you to take a loss on this thing anymore. Right? You were risking 10 cents on it, but you got a great average. You were ready to buy the breakout. You did that. Your stop was at low of day. There you go. You took 20%. So what are you worried about? You're worried about a stock that is pulled back and it's still putting in an inside bar, and what's the concern here? This thing is beautiful. If you are playing a cheaper name, small flag with tons of overhead, but you know, relatively speaking, you know, it's working out well for you. Don't micromanage it. It's my best advice. The less you do, the better. Yeah, look at it on the hourly chart. Stop pulling up the 5-minute chart or the 1-minute chart. They're irrelevant. Names like AR starting to look really good. EQT a little bit better. How's VET looking? VET could use a little work. VET looks a little like Oxy. Not like this monster though. Yeah, you gotta just stop watching it. Shit doesn't matter. RYTM, unfucking believable. My God. Yeah. SWN. TEL. Another one. Yeah. TEL's tightening up big time on the daily as well. Nice to have an alert on some of these just in case. I don't mind owning a cheapie too. You know, these things can double pretty easy. Or something to that effect. Maybe 50%, who knows? SWN, TEL, AR, EQT. How's BTU looking? Little slow for now. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, these LNG names, GLNG starting to look better. FLNG, New Fortress Energy. Yeah, guys, it's where money's going, right? That's the focus. Where money's going, where money's leaving. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Happy you could be here, even if it's just for a moment. I'm not seeing much else to do, guys. Oil Energy was the focus. Not much else to do but let them work. BJ's working. CCJ's working. CELH starting to take shape.
FLXT.
DVN, EMPH, Rig, Toast, UEC. yeah, that's about it. If you guys got any questions, I'm happy to stay on answer for a little bit longer. Otherwise, I think we're probably good and done for today. There's not much else. Alt another one. Yeah, this fucking thing.
CGSI.
Thanks, Snappy. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow, man. If you've ever got questions, you know, ask. I'm here to help. Alrighty, guys. Until tomorrow, I will get this. I've got it recorded. I will get it uploaded to YouTube for anybody that may have missed or anybody that wants to catch up on any of these streams. But yeah, I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good day.